I'm super excited for you all to hear from my guest, Tenicia Moulden, who is a business and estate planning attorney. She is a coach and a speaker. She's the founder of Generation Squared, a wealth education community, and Moulden Law Firm. Tenicia has a background in finance, banking, and insurance before she started creating estate plans for women and their families. Now, during her estate planning meeting, she realized the discussion would be focused on generational wealth and how women could increase that wealth. Now we fast forward to 2020. While locked down, like we all were, Tenicia saw the opportunity to help fill the gap that was missing in the financial industry. Essential wealth building blocks and a community empowering women to build generational wealth and achieve financial independence through the power of their personalities. So please join me in welcoming Tenicia Moulden, who is front and center today to talk about what it means to be simply living me. Well, hello, Tenicia.
Hi.
I am so excited to have you on the Simply Living Me podcast. This is like, you and I have been talking about this for several weeks. And, you know, as my listeners know, this is a little bit of a rebrand of my original Simply Living Me podcast, where I'm now bringing on the most amazing entrepreneurs to, you know, have some time to really share what you're doing. But I really want people to understand what's behind all of this, right? So many people think that entrepreneurship, a lot of people know that it's hard, but I don't think they understand that there are so many pluses and huge opportunities, as well as challenges that everyone just needs to know, right? Like, some of our challenges are not unique just to us. And so I wanted to be able to share space with my friend, entrepreneurs, to kind of talk about all the things, and for you to share and impart your wisdom on our listeners. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. You are so sweet. I'm honored to be a part of that group you just named. Named off, because sometimes, you know, as an entrepreneur, you're like in the trenches. I'm in it.
Yep.
And you don't realize what you're doing or what other people are, experiencing from you because you're in it. I like just today, I got a message from someone on Instagram, sent me a message saying, Tenicia, your business is so well put together. How did you do this? And I'm like, what?
So, okay, well, let's talk about that. How did you do this? First off, what is it that you do? And then secondly, how did you?
What is it that you do? We're going to talk about Tenicia in the third person. Tenicia is, if you want to say by trade, I am a licensed attorney. I practice out of Michigan. So I am an attorney. I have a background in finance and all the things. I've been an attorney for like 17 years. Wow. Can't believe that.
You started at 10. You started at 10.
That happens. And you just jumped right in, and at, 15, that's 15, started my own law. But, I did start a law firm amongst other businesses that I have, but currently an attorney with the business and estate planning, the stated simply, and now incorporating coaching. And that came about because I was doing it naturally in my meetings. And I just saw that the entrepreneurs and business owners, especially the women, not necessarily needed, but I had knowledge to help them in their strategy and their business. So when I saw that they needed help, I would naturally give it to them, give them the knowledge that I have, because that's what we do, right?
Absolutely. But let me ask you a question about that because
Okay.
I remember, so I've, pivoting my business into coaching women who want to transition out of their
Hmm.
careers into entrepreneurship. And I remember saying to myself, this is just what I naturally do, right? I have always been the person that my friends contact when they want to run ideas past me. Can I do this? Can I take the leap? And I just naturally did it, right? And I thought there was something kind of strange about calling myself a coach when, you think about the certifications and the thises and the that's. And it seems like everybody's calling themselves coaches. Did you go through that kind of mental gymnastics as you
Oh
were kind
yeah.
of
Oh
saying, okay, this is what I'm also going to do?
yeah. I think it the end result of what you're saying, I think is the same. Now I might have went through it a little bit different because of the field I came from, being
Mm-hmm.
at what some would consider a traditional law firm. I
Mm-hmm.
really struggled with what that looked like, a traditional.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I already knew I did not, and that's probably what my path to entrepreneurship. I did not fit into the traditional mold of an attorney or traditional law firm. I just didn't see that that model didn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
So I was trying to fit in, but then at the same time, I kept giving these coaching and strategy sessions, and then I was like, well, there's got to be a way for these two worlds to merge. For some reason, I had in my head they had to be separate, and I think
Yeah.
sometimes we get that get in that place where we don't know how to bring it together, something that we're
Mm.
naturally doing because we're letting the outside world or society say this is how you should do business, when
Yeah.
now that you're in it, you start realizing there is no one way to do business. It's your way.
Mhm. Exactly. Exactly. And we learn from others, and especially when we build
Hmm.
community around
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, right? I know, coming from the corporate world, and I was in that space for 20 some years, I didn't really build a network of entrepreneurs. I had a network of all kinds of people, but it wasn't until I became an entrepreneur that I'm like, I have got to start connecting with entrepreneurs because there's different perspectives, there's different mindsets around that. And that's actually kind of how you and I connected,
It,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
we are both NABO sisters, the National Association of Women
Hmm.
Business Owners. If those of you out there don't know who that is, I was the president for a couple years.
Yes.
You were a member and kind of involved, and then eventually we
Hmm.
pulled you in, and now you're on the
Yes.
board. And I'm like, I'm out. But I know, for me, building that community of entrepreneurs, and especially women entrepreneurs from so many
Yes.
different backgrounds at different stages of their business development, was really tremendous. So tell me about your network and your building of the entrepreneurship network.
Oh, it's kind of like what you said. I'm open. I've always been an open person. I think, and when I look at like my friendships and the
Mm-hmm.
people I surround myself with, I always had an eclectic mix of friends. So this is how the people that orbit around me are. So
Yeah.
I have an eclectic mix of friends, but they would never be friends with each other. Does that make sense?
I get it.
So
Yeah.
I've always liked people from different backgrounds,
Mhm.
different exposures, because I feel like I always can learn from them and at different levels. So I have, friends and entrepreneurs that are thinking about starting a business up to multi-million dollar
Mhm.
businesses. But I always think that is important, because if you're trying to grow as a person and as a business, you want to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you
Mhm.
and are where you want to be.
Right.
So as you're growing, that that network will grow and change over time too. So I think that sometimes people think that you have to, or they feel conflicted that they have to stick with the same friendships. Those
Mm-hmm.
friendships can evolve or change over time, and sometimes you
Yes,
have to
they
realize
do.
that you build once you mature, especially with this entrepreneur, that some people can't come along for the ride. If you want to, stay on
Yeah.
if you want to stay on the train, they're going to get off,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
okay.
And don't you feel that sometimes when you are in different communities? So I'm going to say from the perspective of the community that you and I belong to, the NABO community, we also belong to the We Should All Be Millionaires Club community. And when
Mm-hmm.
you are around people who are dreamers and doers and believe that there are no boundaries, then it causes you to be like that, to think differently, right? But when you're around people
Right.
who are not necessarily like that, you kind of, it's that whole notion of comfort is a beautiful place, but nothing grows there, right? So
Right.
being able to put yourself in a position where you're with people who are doing the things that you want to do or pushing you to be even better is just really, that's part of the work, right?
Yeah, and sometimes it's not, you just see when you see someone else pursuing their dreams that has nothing necessarily to do with, I guess your natural talent. You see them pursuing what their natural talent is, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
is. And I'm like, if they can craft this, what their God-given gift, and turn this into a business, so can you, so can I.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and when you're in a diverse group of a community like that, and you see all the different ways that this can happen, that's why I said before, there is no one way to
There
do
isn't. Yeah.
business. Now, there are fundamentals to doing
Mhm.
business, but there's no one way to do it.
No. I think so. You and I had the privilege and honor of spending a lot of time in San Juan, Puerto Rico when we went to the ROI Millionaires Summit. And the one thing that surprised me, and it lends itself to everything that you just said, we met women business owners who were building 6-figure plus businesses doing tarot readings.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't that fun?
So here's the realities, right? If they can do it, you can do it, right? Like anything that you're
Oh,
good
yeah.
at, action. So
It was
I was
everything.
mind blown, and there was no judgment about it, right? We all supported each other, no matter what
Right.
the business was. It wasn't like, "Ooh, that ain't gonna work." It was like, "Oh my
No.
God, you're doing that? Well, hell, I can definitely."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like they bring their own flavor to it. So it might have been, there's, lots of people interested in building wealth, which, I am all about
Mhm.
building wealth. So everyone wants to, but everyone brings a different flavor, their own seasoning to doing it.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that was fun time. Oh, that was fun. I can't wait
We
to
had
do
a
that again.
blast. I know. I know. We'll be back next year, Rachel Rogers.
Yeah. Yes.
So, all right. So let's segue into this. I'm curious. I've been building this platform around Simply Living Me. And when you hear that, what what does Simply Living Me mean to you?
Being me,
Mhm.
I mean, like you said, simply being my authentic self, because no one can be me. Why would anybody
Mhm.
else want to be me? But I can be me, my best, the best
You can
me
try to
there
be
can
me,
be.
but
But wouldn't it be? Nobody wants the impression of me being me. Who wants to see an impression of me being me? Don't you see that sometimes? Like you feel like someone is doing an impression of themselves. Like,
yes.
and I said,
Yes.
like, no, nobody wants to see an impression of me. And I've done that. And that was part of, trying to fit into the mode of what people think an attorney is supposed to be. No, I am
Mm-hmm.
Tenicia, who happens to be an attorney. And when people meet me, typically they don't even know I'm an attorney, because I don't say anything about it. I just see opportunities to be of service.
Right. Right. And that's where the impact and the value comes from. Yeah. Yeah. So interestingly, you would say that is I loved being a corporate chick. I loved working in corporate America. Like it was my thing, right?
Well,
I was able to kind of navigate all the things, right? Until I left. Then I realized that I really had put boundaries around what was possible for myself. And, because I really like to think that obviously while I was in corporate America, I made an impact. I did really great work. My identity was so much associated though with the companies that I worked for. And it wasn't until I became an entrepreneur that I had to lean on myself, right? I can't say I'm Charmaine Brown from XYZ company anymore. I am Charmaine Brown of Connections Consulting. I am Charmaine Brown of, who are you again? Oh, I'm Charmaine Brown, right? And that was a process of going through and then realizing that, wait a minute, I thought I was free mentally, physically, when I was in corporate America, but I really wasn't. I didn't realize that until I got out.
Yeah, well, they had us fooled, didn't they? But it's all there's definitely benefits. There's benefits to both. It takes all to make the world go round. So I was in corporate America for a long time, but there's things to be learned there. And when you said that you put boundaries on yourself, I don't know if I would say that. I would say that there's boundaries already there.
Yeah.
There's boundaries put in place.
I didn't realize I had the boundaries until I left.
Oh, you thought you were free. No,
yeah. And I think a lot of people think that, right? But you don't know until you actually move into this other space called entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where I ended up. I was started having those flashes of that I'm really am bound, because I would start, when you're in corporate America, you're working to enhance and bring fortune to the corporation, or make your boss look good and make everyone else money. So when I was constantly doing that and my ideas and strategies were being implemented, I'm like, this is great. Then I started saying, well, how can I use that for myself? And started, inquiring how to get input on how can I grow using my knowledge. Right. And that's when I started getting pushback. Like all of a sudden my ideas weren't that great when I wanted to use it for myself. And so that's when the light bulb started to go off, like, wait a minute, I'm good. It's good enough to make you money, but not good enough to make Tenicia money.
Right. So that's when you said, I'm out. Peace out.
Said, peace out. Peace out twice. # peace out. Yeah. So that was eye-opening. And yeah, it was scary, very scary. But once now that we are in it, I would think that if we did not have the fear, now that I know that, if it's not scary, it's probably not the right path to take. So, yes. So scary in the sense that scary in the sense that you're moving towards a new version of yourself. Not scary that you don't want to make silly decisions, but but scary that you're moving into a new version of yourself, the future you, and you're expanding. So it's
And it
that
stretches you. It's
fear.
growth.
Right. Yeah, the growth part, that you know that you're growing, the scary part.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if it's not, it can be easy. It should feel natural. How about that? It should feel
Mhm.
natural. But yeah, it will be challenging and scary, because this is a new, more likely than not, you're going to be doing
Yeah.
something that you never done before, thought in ways that you never thought before, being in rooms with people that you've never would have experienced
Never would have
before.
thought. Right.
And you just, what you have to do, just simply be yourself, right?
Mhm. I
And
love
that's what
that.
people want to see.
They want to see you. They don't want to see what you
Mm-hmm.
think they want. You want what you believe they want to see. So how does Tenicia push through her fear?
I ask, what would Tenicia do? And I do the opposite.
Sir. And
Sorry.
then Tenicia calls me.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah. So if we let Tenicia decide what to do, your natural inclination is to go within and not do it. So I have seriously done that. I'm like, what would Tenicia do? Oh, that's what she would do. I need to do the opposite of what she would do, because she is not going to do what needs to be done.
Right. Now that's what I call self-awareness. The fact
Oh my
that you know
gosh.
that and you do the opposite is actually part of your process of addressing your fear. Right? It's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
tool that you use to push through, because what most people won't tell you, viewers, is we live in that state of fear all the time, or a state of questioning, a state of, is this the right thing for me to do, all the time. It's just natural. It's just a natural human reaction to change. The difference, I think, for us is we find ways to tackle it. We find ways to
right.
push through it, not around it, because it's going to keep
Oh,
coming up. So
no.
we go through it,
Yeah.
but we come up with those tools. Like, I'm going to do
Yeah.
the
So
opposite of what
yeah.
Tanisha would do.
Right. So, and then, you have to, like you said, stay in that, you're that constant, it's kind of like a constant state that's always there. So you
Yeah.
have to move yourself if you want to grow and learn and be the best version of you. You have to, whatever that system is for you, to be in a constant state of, I don't know, enthusiasm. Those are my, like, it's like, it
Mm.
has to be enthusiasm and enjoyment. So how do I stay there, besides not doing what Tanisha does? But I meditate.
Yeah.
I exercise. I do I love to do yoga. So I do my yoga, but the meditation has been a real good part, and therapy helps too. So
Oh
don't
my
knock
God.
the therapy. Don't
Listen,
knock the therapist.
listen,
I'm not.
therapy
Tanisha does
is
not
like,
like therapy.
okay. Well, and Charmaine is here right now because of therapy. Okay. So, yes, therapy has to be a part of your regimen, your life regimen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Agreed. Totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what was the best advice that you received when you started off on your entrepreneurship journey?
Oh wow, that's the best advice. I
Mhm.
think. Well, I want to say, just show up. Show up as me. Just show up. I think
Mhm.
sometimes, and even I get caught up in this, in trying to, um, perfectionism.
Mm.
Just show up. It doesn't need to be perfect. People just
Right.
want to see and hear what you have to say. I had and that was eye opening. I think that happened actually last year, where a client, said that to me, and I think I was trying to share with her something. I was sharing with her some things that I was doing, and she's like, "That doesn't matter, Tenicia. It does." She said, "We just want you to show up. Just we don't know what we don't know. Just tell us what to do." Like, really? Just show up. I'm like, she's like, just show up. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be all packaged pretty with the nice fonts and colors and
like we in our heads we expect it to be, right?
Right. And the nice copy and a nice landing. No, she's like, no, it doesn't.
It's and so I am afflicted with that issue of perfectionism as well. And so I have been practicing the 80-20, the 70-30, and
what's that?
it's not going to be 100%. If I can shoot for 80%, if I could shoot for 70%, sometimes it's 70%. And you need to be okay with that, because my 70% looks like perfection to others. And that was the thing that I had to really think about. Plus, doesn't perfectionism cause us not to move forward?
Yes, because there's no such thing as perfection. I think I'm repeating what my therapist is.
Well, I know I'm repeating it because I've learned.
There's no such thing as perfectionism. Say it with me 3 times. Okay.
You're right. It does not exist.
And that's kind of like what I said earlier, where I got the message on Instagram, and he says, "Your business looks so well put together." What are you talking about? I'm still working on this. Like 3 years in, I'm still working on. No, but and that's kind of like just moving. You just like you have to make a decision and execute.
Yeah,
and execute.
And along the way, as we execute, is when we get feedback. But part of the perfectionism is that we don't want to hear the negative feedback. We want to make sure we can check off all the boxes so we don't hear it, when the reality is feedback, whether it's positive or not so positive, is actually input that allows us to get better. And so I've also thought about it in that framework, right? Like,
yeah. When you say that, that's another thing I think that holds entrepreneurs back, because when you're in corporate America, your feedback comes in your reviews, and you have the check off list based upon your job description. You know what's going to be evaluated and what the goals are and the stretch goals and what the goals of the organization are. But when you're an entrepreneur, you don't know what feedback is going to come back. You don't know how your offer is going to be received. All you can do is go, put it out there with, to make the best decision and go forward. And one of the things we have to learn is to have that, don't take it personal. To not take it personal, and it doesn't matter. I don't know if it equates to having a thick skin, but you don't take it personal. All you're doing, and you have to reframe it to, you're seeking data.
Right.
You're seeking information. I'm going to put it out there and see, oh, okay, they like that. Let's see how many people really like it. Oh, they really like it. So how can I deliver this and make it better and keep going with it? Or they come back and say, you got crickets on that. Was it, you evaluate, was it the messaging or was it you, or what, maybe change the face on it. But it's right.
Never you.
So it's not necessarily, it's never you. Yeah, it's probably the messaging or how it's being delivered or how you're presented. It could be like, the littlest thing that gets people's attention versus changing. It might be the messaging. Like, this is one little thing that I found out. People like to see me. I would prefer to put, Tenicia Moulden just in a nice font and put it out on Instagram with no pictures. And then I draft up some documents for you. That would be great that we could do that. But people love when I show up in the video or the pictures and stuff like that. So if that's what you need to do to get them to see you, to deliver your message and to be of service, then that's what you have to do. So that is, you can't take it personal and just reframe it to you're seeking data.
Right. Tenicia, they're buying you, right? I mean, all the fluffy copy and pictures and all that stuff, they're really buying you. They're buying your personality. They're buying your expertise. They're buying, they want to see the whole person, which helps them build trust and knowing, especially with the work that you do, estate planning, legal services, coaching. I mean, they need to build trust with you, and most people build trust by seeing you. And so I'm glad that you're stepping out from behind the fonts.
From behind the fonts. They're so pretty, though. There's so many different ones that you could choose.
Amazing.
Look at that. You can make them different colors.
Really great quote. Come behind. Come from behind the fonts.
Come from behind the fonts.
Oh gosh. So speaking of, tell us a little bit more about your coaching program.
Oh, wow. So and this is just comes naturally. Strategy is my thing. I just love to strategize. Like I see a problem. And then I'm like, okay, so I'm always keeping the end goal in mind. You look at the end goal, where we are, and we're going to create a plan to get there, strategize how to get there. So I really focus on the program that I have developed now, which is essentially a VIP day, thanks to a nice friend who helped me put my program together. A VIP day with helping others develop their offer. So what I discovered is lots of people are not happy with their offer, but at the same time, we have discovered they're not in line with getting their dream client and using their legal tools to do that. Their contracts and understanding that their offer is IP or is an asset, intellectual property, and understanding how to trademark that. So so now I am coaching on a VIP day on helping them develop their offer, strategizing that, making their contracts fall in line with that because it makes sense that they are in alignment with their offer, and then also educating our business owners on trademarking their new asset. Once we develop it, you now have a new asset. And I think that's where sometimes they miss the mark, and some people don't know that all these things come together,
right,
and work together. So that is what I am coaching on now, and it's so exciting.
I'm excited for you. I know it's been, I like to say, when I go into the lab and I'm trying to work on this offer and, all the junk that's in your head, right? And being able to have community like with you and with other entrepreneurs who kind of understand what we're doing and what we are challenged with just kind of makes it even more, you feel supported, right? You feel supported as you go along the journey of building these things out. So I'm really excited for you. I'm excited for the people that you are going to impact. And, I think like you, our charge or what we are really driving toward is to create this independence and to generate wealth and for people to feel like they can create their own systems and their own structure and be able to impact the world around them the way they choose to, instead of fitting in to the system that we know we've always struggled with. So I know that you and I have that in common, and I am so excited to be on this journey with you. So thank you.
Thanks.
I really appreciate you.
Yeah. And I didn't even share the name of the offer.
Well, let's share,
the VIP day. The VIP day is called My Modern Offer. So
Ooh.
that is, you can find it. I'm updating my website as we speak. And that's
Okay.
another thing that you got to learn, because this just, it just kind of came about in the past
Mhm.
week or so. So I am updating my website, Moulden Law, and we are going to put that on there. But yeah, I am, but the application is ready if anyone's interested to apply for
Okay.
that
Yeah.
program.
So we will make sure that our viewers and our listeners get all the information so that they can connect with you, because our goal is to get as many folks on the pathway to independence and wealth building and impact
Oh my
building,
gosh.
right?
That is my word. That is independence. That is my
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That didn't even need to ask that question.
What? Oh, what was the question?
It was going to be, what's your word? What's your
Oh,
quote?
that's my,
What's your
you know what, that word.
thing?
I have lots of words. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and I do have another word,
Mhm.
enthusiasm. You got to come with the
Mm.
enthusiasm. It's kind of hard to be, that's one thing that we see in all these entrepreneurs that we get in, involved in. You can tell who's really enthusiastic about their service and their
Absolutely.
offerings, and you just kind of tell me more about this tarot reading
Yeah.
stuff. Knew I would be so excited about tarot because
I
they're so
know.
excited
I know.
about it. But this enthusiasm, if you are in entrepreneurship, you gotta, I've got some E's for you. It gotta be enthusiastic. You gotta have enjoyment with it. So it's every day. And it kind of goes full circle to what you were saying, for the being in the fields. You gotta, how do you have that, get in that feeling every day? Because you will have, it's going to be hard. It will be hard.
Mhm.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Absolutely. But we get to
It's
pick
just
our
hard.
hard,
It's just
right?
hard.
It's
And yeah,
hard working for other
this
people.
is true.
Eh, it's just a different kind of
Oh my
hard.
gosh.
So you're not trading better hard for, it's better or worse. There's ebbs and flows
It,
of it, right?
yes, this is true. This is true. This is true. You just kind of go, but it's more fun. You know what? I've never had so much fun.
I agree. Wholeheartedly agree with you on that. Yeah. And I know that when other people see that you're having fun and that there is this energy around you, that they can't always describe it, but they're just like, you just seem so happy, or you just seem like you were just in your element, right? Though that's
Yeah.
what comes across. And I think what it speaks to is just kind of this internal happiness, right? That
Yeah.
somehow kind of finding what you're truly meant to be here for and what you're truly meant to do. There is a sense of peace about that. And maybe I'm speaking to it because I've kind of done a huge shift in terms of my career, that there is this peace that comes with knowing that you get to do the thing that you want to do, and you get to create endless revenue and opportunity and
Isn't that
impact so many
amazing?
people, right?
That is it. Yeah, that is so amazing, because people would, and that, going back to thinking when I started off in law, and then I think this goes with corporate America too, that first, if you're having, it just seemed to me like if you were having fun, for some reason, people would associate that with, you can't do good work.
Right.
You can't be good at what you do if
Yeah, and
if
have
you have a
fun.
smile on your face. Well, like the two can't go together. So that,
Mm.
that started to weigh heavy on my heart,
Mm.
really. And I'm like, well, it just didn't feel good and it didn't feel natural. I'm like, why can't you, shouldn't you be happy? But then when you start being exposed to people that are happy every day doing what they want to do and making a living from it, making good money, really
Right.
good revenue from it, you're like, well, why can't
I
I
can
do
do
that?
that. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can do that. And you can do that. You can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. That's another,
Yes, you can.
take that credit.
Yes, you can. Well,
Yes,
and
you
this
can.
this is something that I've always said to my DEI clients is that multiple realities can exist at the same time.
Oh,
And as you think
gotta write
about
that
that,
down.
I know, right?
I don't have a pen.
Listen, well, and I'm going to give it to you on the personal. I can be a hot mess managing through my mental state and still be impactful with my clients. That's multiple realities can exist at the same time, right?
This is true because that you see this. I think we all are there at the have all that going on.
Right.
And then you see other people like, yeah, no, she a hot mess, but how she has,
How she do it?
3 businesses.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Oh,
Now,
well,
I'm
she
not
could do it. I could do
saying,
it.
yeah, I ain't saying everything is perfect. There we go with that
No.
perfectionism,
Oh,
right? But you can still operate in multiple spaces at the same time. And that's where I think we get so hard on ourselves because it's like, wait a minute, I'm over here trying to heal and work through all the stuff. I can't possibly do this thing over here. Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
and that's learned through entrepreneurship. I don't think when people enter
Mhm.
entrepreneurship, especially if they're new to it, they don't realize that. They
Yeah.
go into it for, many reasons. It may be because of they're sick of their job, they want to make more money, they want to follow their passion, but they don't necessarily realize there will be multiple dimensions happening at the same time,
Multiple.
and multiple the roller coaster, is that what they call it? The roller coaster of
Mhm.
emotions happening. And just to come center with that and have your support group,
Mhm.
find your support group and mentors, support group, tribe, whatever that is to keep you going. You got to do it. You cannot do it alone because it can be very lonely. It
Yeah.
can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it can be. And that is, again, what you're talking about is building that support. So, building the community of people who understand, who have kind of gone through the different phases, and that you can lean on them for support and guidance. And I know I have that in you, and you've got that in me. And so, there's nothing like when you have good people supporting you along the way and who are also knowledgeable and have expertise too. So that's the
Yeah,
icing on the cake.
that's always helpful.
Hmm. Well, my love, I have enjoyed sharing space with you today, and I appreciate all that
Thanks.
you have shared with our viewers and our listeners. And just real quick, I want you to remind our viewers and our listeners how they can support you and your work again, where they can find you. So maybe a little bit of your, I don't know, call it a 10 to 20-second pitch again for our
Oh,
viewers and
okay.
listeners.
Wonderful. I can, Tenicia, again, in the third word, Tenicia can be found on all the platforms with your estate planning and business needs and also coaching. And so on Instagram, I am at Tenicia Moulden _ESQ. And on LinkedIn, Tenicia Moulden. And then on Facebook, I'm Moulden Law. Look, I can't remember what my things are, but Moulden Law. Oh, and moldenlaw.com. Yes, my website, Moulden Law, which is probably the best way to get me. But that is, that is how to find me on all the platforms. I am there.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much again, Tenicia, for being on the Simply Living Me podcast. And I cannot wait to share more information about you and your organization with our viewers and listeners. So thank you so much for
Thank you
being
so
here.
much, Charmaine. Thank you. This has been fun.
Yeah. See, I like to have fun.